Hello there. Today I've played another game in the National League, which I play for my club. And this was a very interesting game. I think you will find some moments very instructive. I played against a National Master this time, and it was a good game. The end game especially interesting, so I think you will find it instructive. But before I show you the game, first the story. So this game was played in the town of Sisak, who I thought was 50 minutes drive from where I live. So I got up in the morning and I sat in my car in 9:05 because the game starts at 10 a.m. So I thought, okay, 9:05, 50 minutes, I'm 9:55 a.m., I'm there and I can start the game at 10 a.m. But I was wrong. When I sat in the car and I typed the address in the navigator, it showed me that I need hour and half drive to Sisak, not 50 minutes like I thought. So what to do? According to the rules, this is 90 minutes plus 30-second increment game, and you are allowed to be late 30 minutes. So if you are more than 30 minutes late, you automatically lose the game. And the Google Maps showed me that I will be there at 10:30. So I'm losing the game. And I started to drive like crazy. I was driving very fast, and I managed to get there at 10:20, 10:25, something like this. So I was 25 minutes off my clock when the game started, which is okay because at least I didn't lose the game. So you can imagine the stress. I was driving fast, I was finding parking, I was running to the building, just play the move and hit the clock so I don't lose the game. So maybe this stress can explain some of the dubious moves in the opening which I made. So yeah, I didn't start the game very good, but then I got myself together and I think I put up a really good fight. Unfortunately, I lost in the end, which was expected. I was weaker, but I had some good chances and I think you will like the game. So the game started. My opponent opened with d4. I responded with d5, knight f3, knight f6. So I'm just playing my Queen's Gambit decline. He played c4, I played e6. He developed his knight, so knight to c3, bishop to e7, bishop to g5. Okay, nothing special here. I castled, he played e3, I played h6, putting a question mark to the bishop. Bishop went to h4. And now here I decided to play Lasker variant. Lasker variant, the idea is that you exchange these minor pieces, and this is how black can liberate himself from the lack of space from which he usually suffers when you play against queen's pawn. So knight to e4 was the move. He took the bishop, okay, I took back, and now he played queen to b3. And I'm just continuing with my plan, so I'm exchanging this knight, queen takes c3. Okay, so far so good. Just normal opening moves. I played Lasker variant, I exchanged two minor pieces, and now we just have to play chess. And here I made a blunder, a mistake, I blundered the pawn, so I played knight to d7. If you want, you can pause the video and see how this blunders the pawn. Anyway, c takes d5 was played, and now this c7 pawn is hanging. So here, by playing knight to d7, I'm blocking the defense of the c pawn, c7 pawn, and the pawn just falls. So c takes d5 was played, I took the pawn back, and I'm now down a pawn. So, like I said, yeah, I was in stress, I was running, I was driving like crazy for the last hour and a half. So, yeah, it can be understood. But okay, it is what it is, and the game goes on. So I played here queen to b4, knowing that he will play queen to c3. Then I can take with a check, and he takes b takes c3. So I did this on purpose, because now he has a backward pawn. So I am a pawn down, but now he has a nice target, and my game is easy from here. I just need to pile up on this pawn. So this is why here I decided, so after I lost the pawn, I decided to go into this variant, exchange queens, and now I will target his pawn. So okay, this is how the game went. So from here I played knight to b6, wanting to develop my bishop, and then put my rooks here on the c file. And also knight can jump on a4 and help with attacking this pawn. And I have to be careful about this pawn. This is isolated pawn. It's on the light square. This means that my bishop, my light square bishop, is not so good bishop. So yeah, so I do have some problems in the position, but okay, I have to play. Knight to d2 was played here. I think he understood that I will be piling up on this pawn, so he's already preparing to defend this pawn with knight to b1. He needs his knight to defend the pawn because I will pile up more attackers that he can add defenders. So I think here he already anticipated moves like rook to c1, knight to b1, and then king to d2, and then this pawn will be sufficiently defended. And this is how the game went. So bishop to e6, bishop to d3, okay, he develops the bishop. Now rook f to c8, attacking the pawn, rook c1, defending the pawn, knight a4, attacking the pawn again, knight b1, defending the pawn. And now rook c7, I want to double the rooks, and king d2. So now he's defending the pawn enough times, but again, all of his pieces are tied to defending this pawn. So it's not a bad position for me. I am a pawn down, but I have very active pieces. So here I played rook a to c8. I was considering knight to b2. This would be an interesting move, attacking the bishop, maybe exploiting this outpost later on. And this is what NG suggests is the best, but it looked a little bit tricky. So anyway, I played rook a to c8, doubling up on the pawn. So now I'm just playing against this pawn. And here he played bishop to b5. So he wanted to remove one of the attackers from the pawn. I understand the logic. I don't find this move very good, but I understand the logic. So the logic is that this light square bishop cannot defend this pawn which is on the dark squares, but it can remove the attacker, so one attacker less. So in this way, he's indirectly defending this pawn. Okay. And I played bishop to d7 here, which I thought, well, if he wants to take the knight, okay. I'll take with the bishop, I will have a bishop against knight, it could be okay. Especially because this bishop is outside of my pawn, so maybe I can take the outpost with the bishop or something. If he wants to take the bishop, good for me, because his light square bishop is a good bishop, because he has the pawns on the dark squares, especially these two which are blocked, and my pawn is on the light square. So this is bad bishop, this is good bishop, so if he wants to exchange bishops, good for me. So he decided to take the knight in the end, and I took back. Okay. And now he played f3, so he wanted to mobilize his central pawns, which I guess is good as plain as any. And here I played rook to c6. So I wanted to keep my rooks more active. If you see this position again, I think I'm fine, because my rooks are very active, his rook is passive, this rook doesn't play. I mean, all his pieces are just defending the pawn. And my pieces are very good, so this bishop, you know, hits some important squares here. Both of my rooks are active, and now I'm activating this rook so I can go on the lateral. So my plan was rook to b6 and then check here, which will be very good if allowed, or maybe even rook to g6 or f6, you know, attacking these pawns. So the rook is active here. He played knight to a3, so he wants to prevent me from playing this rook to b6 and then penetrate to b2, because now if I play rook to b6, he can just play rook to b1. So I didn't have anything better to do, so I played king to f8, so I want slowly to activate my king. He played rook h to e1, wanting to push this pawn, and in anticipation of this I played f5. So okay, if you want to push the pawn, let's open some files and, you know, let's play chess. So he played e4, f takes e4 was played, f takes e4, d takes e4, rook takes e4. Okay, and here I made another blunder, which, well, not really a blunder, but I didn't see what's about to happen. So I thought here it's a nice opportunity now to play b5, because after b5 I can play b4, attacking the knight, attacking the pawn, and he cannot take with the pawn because this rook is now hanging. So this pawn is pinned by my two rooks. So I played b4. He played rook to e3, which I didn't understand at the moment, but I understood it later, because he's now preventing me from penetrating to the third rank. Very, very smart move. And here is the blunder. Okay, not b5, but b4. Because I didn't see very simple idea that he can first move this rook with a check, so rook f1 check, and now when I move my king, he can just take the pawn. And now, this pawn is no longer pinned because he moved the rook, and he moved the rook with a check. So now I'm 2 pawns down against National Master. So I should resign, but I just felt like fighting, I was like, okay, I'm 2 pawns down, but I have 2 active rooks, I have a bishop, so let's just continue and play. So I played rook to b8, attacking this pawn, which is now not defended. He played rook to b1, defending the pawn. And now I played rook to d8. So attacking this pawn, which will also be a check. So he defended this pawn with rook to d3. And now I played rook c to d8, so piling up on this pawn. And now he played knight to c2, which computer says it's a blunder. But I understand the logic. So he's 2 pawns up, and now he's offering me 1 pawn back in order to simplify the position. So for example, if I were to take this knight, removing the defender, he takes the bishop back, I take the pawn, he takes, I take, and now he can play a3. So now he has a very comfortable endgame. So 2 connected pawns against 1, so he has a majority on the queen side. He has the rook, he can now very easily activate the rook. If he managed to exchange the rooks, then it's game over, he wins. So I think he wanted to have this endgame, and he would probably win here easily. So I didn't allow him to do this. So I thought, okay, I can win a pawn, but I need to win 2 pawns to equalize the game. So let's try some tactical tricks to try to win both of these pawns. And I'm actually very proud of myself that I managed to find the combination which wins both of the pawns. Of course, he could have defended better, but I think the combination I found was very interesting. So first I started with rook to f8, threatening this check. He played rook to f3, defending against the check on f2. And then I played rook to c8. And now rook to c8 attacks the knight. So notice what I did here. By playing rook to f8, I was anticipating that he will play rook to f3. Now this pawn is no longer protected by the rook. And then I'm attacking the knight. So he has to do something about the knight. If he moves the knight, I just take the pawn with check. And yeah, I'm just grabbing a free pawn without simplifying the position. So he has to do something. And he played rook to b2. And now I'm winning both pawns. So it starts by taking the knight. So he takes back. And now I don't take this rook, but I take this one with check. So the move order is very important here. Then he plays rook to d3. And now again, I don't take this rook because this one is hanging. But now first I take this one with check. He has to take. And then I take this pawn. So this is the combination which I managed to find, which wins both of the pawns. And this was the good moment in the game, being able to find this combination and equalizing the game, which was lost. So yeah, there is something I can be proud of. And now he played king to c3, rook to b7. So now we are playing equal position, and it's a very interesting endgame. If 2 grandmasters were playing, this is probably a draw, but in amateur chess everything is possible, and you will see it gets very sharp very soon. So he played h3. I'm activating the king by king f7. He plays a4. I go king e6, so just trying to put my king in the center. He plays king c4, and I go a5. So he wants to keep his king close to these pawns, so if this rook was ever to move, he can grab the pawn. This is the idea. Okay, so here he played king to c5, and I played this risky move, rook to b4. So I'm not allowing him to cross this b file, and also I'm attacking undefended pawn. So if he wants to go here, it's just being a passive. So he he wants to attack, he doesn't want to play passively, so he plays rook to g3. Now it would be a mistake to take this pawn, because if I would take this pawn, he can take this pawn, and then he has check and he wins another pawn. So yeah, I'm not happy about this position. So I played g5 here, protecting the pawn, and now he played rook to g4. So now it's very sharp, because if I take the rook, he takes back, and now he wins this pawn and promotes. So I have to be careful. So here I played rook to b1. I don't want to exchange rooks here. He played king to c6, so being in vicinity of this pawn all the time. I played king to f5, wanting to play h5 maybe, and he played king to c4. And now the threat is check and winning the pawn. And this position is actually not easy to defend. So I had to take some risks here. And I played a rook to b4. And yeah, this was risky, but I couldn't find anything better here. So, of course, he could have give check. I go up and he wins the pawn. Now this pawn is protected, but I can go on and win these pawns. So it's also dangerous for him, not just for me. So I calculated, I thought that this rook to c5 check doesn't work if I play a rook to b4. And of course, if he takes the rook, then I'm just winning. He cannot stop the promotion. So here he played king to d5. Okay. And now the calculation starts. So I was thinking first, if I exchange rooks and go after his pawn, should I be able to promote? And the answer is yes. And this is how I calculate this. Okay, if I take the rook, he takes back, so his king is now here. And now I count how many moves do I have to promote, and now I count how many moves do I need to promote and how many moves does he have. So let's first count my side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need 8 moves to promote. Okay, let's now count his side. 1, 2, he has to move away, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I need 8 moves to promote, he needs 7 moves to promote. This means that he will promote first, then I will promote to the next move. And we'll have 2 queens on the board. So this is what I calculated at this moment. And I can just play this out to show you. So if I take, he takes. So this is how counting works. Okay. Now he plays, I play. Okay. And he promotes first. And then I promote. And this is at least a draw. Okay, here I promote with check, but he could have moved somewhere else. He could have been here, for example. Doesn't matter. So this looks like a draw. Theoretically, I can win this if I manage to force him to exchange queens. Then maybe I can even hope for a win here. But yeah, it's not so easy because my king is exposed. He can probably perpetually check me. But it's a draw, or I can even win. But I cannot lose. So this is the position. Okay, so this is what I calculated here. But I also calculated something else, which was completely wrong. And this was like this. Okay, if I take, he takes, I take the opposition, and then I let him take the pawn, and I block him forever. And he cannot escape because I'm always keeping the opposition. And I thought that he cannot gain tempo here because I can just, block everything. So this was another way to go for a draw. And unfortunately, I chose this other way, which was completely wrong. So I took the rook, he took back, and now instead of going for these pawns, like I had counted, I went for the opposition. And this loses the game. Because after king b5, okay, I'm keeping the opposition, he takes. This is how the game went. I'm keeping the opposition, and now he plays g4. And now I'm losing because I have to make a move and I'm losing the opposition. So this loses the game on the spot. So the game went on like king to c6, king b4, king b6, a5 check, king a6, king a4. So here I resigned because, well, at some moment I will need to grab this pawn and then he will just go and pick up my pawns. So for example, if I went here, he can go here, here, he can just now go for my other pawns, and just pick them up. So this is how you play when you have the pawns on the opposite side of the board. You let the king take one pawn and then you go with your king to the other side. So yeah, here I resigned the game. And yeah, it's too bad. I could have make a good fighting draw against the national master. So it all comes down to this position. I just didn't recognize that, well, keeping the opposition here doesn't work. It would work if these pawns were not here. So imagine that these pawns are not here, then it will work. This is a draw. But these pawns are here. And he can buy tempo with these pawns, or there are even other ways to win. So for example, even if he didn't, let's say he goes here, so he doesn't even have to play g4. He can play just, let's say he plays g3. So the worst possible move, I would say. So I play h5, let's say he plays g4 now, and I block the pawns. This is what I thought was a draw. But even this is not a draw, because now he plays here, I take the opposition, and all he has to do is to play a5, and now I'm losing the opposition. So I can play something like king c7, and then he escapes, and again, when I pick up this pawn, he's already, there to pick up my pawns. So this is also losing. Even if these pawns were blocked on the other side of the board, this still loses. So yeah, I just didn't see this. For some reason, I thought that this opposition, that this is a draw. Or rather this. But this is not a draw. First of all, he has a tempo, second. And second, he can just take away the opposition by making a move with the pawn. So yeah, too bad. This was nicely calculated from here, and I couldn't play this through the end. So this is it. I hope you found the game instructive, and I hope that you have learned something from this endgame. So don't make the same mistakes I did. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.